Okay guys, chapter 12 review, here we go. Example number 1, it says solve. Express irrational solutions in simplest radical form. It doesn't say it doesn't say round, it doesn't say approximate. So basically we're not using our calculator to find any values here. We're just going to leave it in simplest radical form. And the first thing I want to do here is I want to divide both sides by 8. Let's just make this thing simpler. So now it's going to be x plus 3 squared is equal to 7. Now I have something squared is equal to 7. I'm ready to go ahead and take the square root of both sides, all right? So now the square root of a square is just equal to x plus 3. But remember, whenever I have a variable under a radical sign, when I simplify it, the other side has to be plus and minus root 7. Okay, now I don't want to know what x plus 3 equals, I want to know what x equals. So let's go ahead and subtract 3 from both sides. And that's going to leave us with x equals, and I always leave the thing that's not with the radical, I put that in front, negative 3 plus or minus root 7. You can also write it as x is equal to negative 3 plus root 7 and negative 3 minus, negative 3 minus root 7. You can write them separately or you can write them together. Remember, when you write them together, the plus goes on top of the minus. Okay? There's our answer. Do it correctly. All right? Good job. Let's look at the next one. The next one. Solve by completing the square. Give irrational roots in simplest radical form. And no, don't do that. Because tomorrow I'm not going to ask you to do any approximation. You don't have to round or anything like that. Just make sure that your radical answers are simplified. Okay? Now, remember, whenever I'm completing the square, I have to have the squared term with nothing in front of it. So I'm going to divide this by 5, and this by 5, and this by 5. Get the x squared by itself, or I mean with just a coefficient of 1. So divide everything by 5, and that leaves me with x squared minus 4x is equal to 2. Okay? Now I'm ready to make this left side, this side over here, ready to make it a perfect square. Okay? So I'm going to write x squared minus 4x plus is equal to 2 plus okay? Now, let's find out what goes in that blank. I take the middle term here, the middle number, middle coefficient, negative 4. I divide it by 2, and that gives me negative 2. And then I square it, and that gives me positive 4. But remember, I added 4 to this side, so I have to add 4 over here. Okay? Now, this is a perfect square. It is x minus 2 squared, and that equals 6. Okay? Now, I have a problem that looks like problem number 1, right here. Right? So I'm going to take the square root of both sides, and I'll do that in black. Square root of this side, square root of that side, and I'm going to get x minus 2 is equal to plus or minus 6. Okay? I'm sorry, plus or minus root 6. All right? Add 2 to both sides because I want to get x by itself, and it's going to give me x is equal to 2 plus and minus root 6. Plus or minus root 6. Okay? And that's our answer. Done. And I needed to do completing the square on that one because it asked me to use completing the square. So if it says use a certain method, I want you to use a certain method on the test tomorrow. Okay? Next up, number 3 says use the quadratic formula. Okay, so now I have to use the quadratic formula for this one. So the first thing I want to do is get everything on the left side so I'll know what a, b, and c are. All right, so add 7. 4y squared minus 12y, plus 7 is equal to 0. Okay, so that means that a is equal to 4, b is equal to negative 12, and c is equal to 7. All right, now I'm going to write the quadratic formula just to remind you and me what it is. Negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a. Now I'm going to rewrite it with parentheses so I can plug stuff in. Okay? Minus 4 blah blah all over 2 blah. Okay? Let's see. b is negative 12. a is 4. c is 7. Let's simplify this thing. This is going to turn into 12 plus or minus the square root of 144 17 times 17 times 7, 16 times 7. Let's just see. It's 28 times 4. 112 minus 112. All over 8. So 12 plus or minus the square root of 32 all over 8. Okay? Wait a minute, Cortez. I have a radical. I may be able to simplify it. Should I? Yes. Just like reducing fractions. So root 32 is root 8 times root 4, which is root 2 times root 2. And that's root 2 times root 4. And that's root 2 and root 2. Okay? So now I've got these two turn into 2. These two turn into 2. And I'm left with that one right there. So it's going to be 4 root 2. So 12 plus or minus 4 root 2, all over 8. Now you'll see on top, we have two terms, this one and this one. And 4 goes into both of them. So I need to pull out that 4, see if I can reduce this fraction. I always reduce fractions when I can. All right, 4 times 3 plus or minus root 2, all over 8. Now the 4 cancels with the 8. And I get 3 plus or minus root 2 over 2. That's my answer. Man, that was good. Nice. Nice. That's some nice work, guys. You guys are learning a lot. You really are. You should be very proud of the stuff that you can do. Let's look at the next one. All right. Without drawing the graph, okay, of the given equation, determine A. All right, I'll put A right here. We'll give our answer. How many x-intercepts the parabola has, and B, whether its vertex lies above, below, or on the x-axis. Okay, well, first thing I got to do is get this in the right order. Y is equal to negative 3x squared plus 7x plus 2. Hey, look, this one is negative. That means it's going to be a frowny face, isn't it? Okay, so the first thing I need to do is use the discriminant, which is b squared minus 4ac, right? So we'll plug that in and see if we have any x-intercepts. Remember, x-intercepts is the same thing as solutions, and the discriminant tells us how many solutions we have. So let's plug that in. B is 7, A is negative 3, C is 2. So that's 49 plus, right, because negative 4 times negative 3 is positive 12 times 2 is 24. And that gives us 73. So I have two solutions, also known as 2x-intercepts, okay? 2x-intercepts. 2x-intercepts. All right, how about that? Now, I know it hits the x-axis twice, and it's a frowny face. So it's said without graphing, but I just want to see what it looks like, right? Okay, it's a frowny face. It's a frowny face like this, and it has to hit the x-axis twice. No, it doesn't hit the x-axis at all now. Now it only hits it once. Now it hits it twice, okay, and the vertex is above the x-axis, all right? That's what we have to do to figure out where the vertex is, okay? Above for that one. All right, looking good. Let's look at the next one. Solve each quadratic equation by using the most appropriate method. You know what the most appropriate method is? The one that works. So choose whichever one you feel most comfortable with, and simplify these things, okay, or solve them, okay, and we don't need to round or anything like that. So a fraction equals a fraction. It's a proportion. Cross multiply. 4x minus 3 times x plus 1 is equal to 5x minus 3 times 2x minus 3. Nice. Let's distribute. 4x squared plus 4x minus 3x minus 3 is equal to 10x squared minus 15x minus 6x plus 9. Okay, scoot down here. All right, I can simplify these two things. All right, so now this is 4x squared plus x minus 3 is equal to 10x squared minus 21x plus 9. I'm going to put everything on the right because that'll keep my x squared positive. So subtract 4x squared from both sides, and that's going to leave me with 6x squared. Subtract x from both sides, it's going to give me negative 22x, right? Because this is negative 1x. And then add 3 to both sides, and that's going to give me 12. 0. Okay? We could complete the square, we could use the quadratic, we could use the factoring if we want. You know what I'm going to use? I think I'm going to use quadratic. I just don't feel like messing with it anymore. A equals B equals C equals 6 negative 22 plus 12. Okay. Mr. Cortez, I could have divided both sides by 2 and made everything smaller. You could. That's fine. You know, make it 3, 11, and 6. That's okay. But I'm just going to go ahead and plug this in. I'm still going to get the right answer. Minus 4 blah blah all over 2 blah. Okay, let's plug that in. And it's going to give me negative 20. Oh, hang on. Negative 22, negative 22. And then I'm going to get 6 and 6 and 12. Okay, so that's going to be 22 plus or minus the square root. I don't know what the 484 is it? 22 squared? I don't know. Let's see. 22 times 22 is 484. Mr. C. Nice. Okay, 24 times 12. I don't know what that is. All right, 288. So it's minus 288 all over 12. 22 plus or minus the square root of 484 minus 288, which is 196. Ah, teachers. You're awesome, teachers. Give us something that works out for us. 22 plus or minus 14 over 12. Okay, the square root of 196, so it's 22 plus 14 over 12, and 22 minus 14 over 12. 22 and 14 is going to be 36 over 12, which is 3. And 22 minus 14 is going to be 8 over 12, which is 2/3. So x is equal to 3 and 2/3. Not 3, not the mixed number 3 and 2/3, but the number 3 and the number 2/3. That's our solution. Beautiful, guys. All right, I'm going to end this video here, and we'll pick up problem number 6 on the next video. All right, thanks, guys.